nothing too major. Just a long day in the studio. Started early this morning. Really just got done not too long ago.
Yeah, another day in the life for Will a Fool.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. Got the legend in the building. Will a Fool, producer, the producer room, powered by producer culture. Will a Fool, appreciate you, man. Appreciate it big time.
Appreciate you guys.
Definitely, definitely. But you know, first and foremost, gotta give you a big congratulations on all the success. You know, some of the biggest songs on that Rod Wave Deluxe song was #1 on Apple for forever. And it just keeps going crazy. So big congratulations to you on that.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, what was as far as kind of like working on the deluxe goes, you were obviously somebody who was really in the mix and had multiple songs on there. You weren't just one random producer who had a one part on one song. What was kind of like the process for the deluxe like, and how did that all kind of come together?
Well, really, Rod Wave, he hit me up. He was in the city, he was in Atlanta, but I ended up having to leave town for something else. And you know, it was a quick process, so we really couldn't just like get like in the studio. So pretty much we would just send stuff back and forth. Like he would hit me, hey man, I'm in there recording, woo, 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 and shoot it. Like I said, it was just a pretty quick process. It wasn't like something, you know, like I would imagine, you know, based on my experience, when someone is starting on an album, you know, you're in there, you're pretty much putting together ideas, you know, you making stuff from scratch. You know, he has an idea, he tell me, you know, the process. So pretty much it was pretty much a quick process. So we actually cooked up a few records, but due to the time frame that we had, a lot of stuff didn't get cleared. So that's what we have, you know, on the deluxe right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something interesting to kind of stick with too. You know, a lot of people don't understand that clearing process and how it can delay or stop things altogether from being a part of a project.
Right.
I'm sure you've had your fair share of those for sure. Any advice?
But see, this is my first time that I actually sampled a record.
Uh-huh.
It's like my first actual like situation, like just sampling something, you know, something that's old, you know, kind of revamping it and giving it someone. So, you know, it's it's actually like a headache pretty much, man. You know, you're dealing with another company that owns the masters to this record, and you know, you got to deal with them, and they may want more of a portion. They may, you know, so it's like a big, it's just something that, you know, it's a weird process, you know, dealing with all other third party people that, you know, I'm taking their stuff and using it. So it's like, you know, I have to go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like a lot of times when you sample those older records, there's a lot of contributors to them, some of which still own their publishing, some of which have sold their publishing. So now you got to get it cleared piece by piece by maybe the individuals or by the different entities or companies that now are the owners of it.
Right. And it almost didn't make the album, but I guess due to the fact that, you know, the companies are under one umbrella, they got it done really quick because he really wanted it on there. He's like, man, I gotta have this on the album. No, I need this on there. So they got that done ASAP. Like man, Rod Wave, let's make her happy now, because he gonna be happy if he don't have it on the album. So and they got it done quick, like ASAP.
Definitely. Yeah, they knew they had that Will of Fool sauce on there. They had to make sure they got that one done. Had to make
Hey,
sure they
come
got
on, man. Come on. You already know.
that.
Come
Come
on,
on,
man.
man. But yeah, I'm glad we got to connect right after you know, the deluxe came out and everything. Obviously, that's the most recent. I'm sure you have a ton of unreleased stuff. But let's take it all the way back to the beginning. How did it kind of start for Will of Fool? How'd you really start first getting into, you know, producing, but just in music in general?
Well, so really, like my grandma, she had me doing like piano lessons when I was young. So You know, I kind of got like I was already like bred into like the music like at a young age. So, but at that time, like man, I just could not focus on it, you know. But you know, my grandma, she just stayed on me, you know what I mean? She stayed on me. So, you know, I ain't really had no choice, you know what I mean? I'm young, so I had no choice. I wanted to, you know, I did other things, sports and all that, but for some reason I just, you know, I just stuck with the music. I don't know, like even though I didn't really like it at the time, you know, I just stuck with it. So um all throughout my school years, I was just doing, you know, doing music, different instruments, just, you know, just trying different things musically. Um, but by the time I got out of high school, I say maybe a year after that, I started, I was, you know, like venturing over into making beats. You know, I started off on Fruity Loops in the beginning, and I just, you know, I started dealing with, you know, dibbling and dabbling and, you know, using other programs. And I stumbled across Reason. So I started using that. And me being from the west side of Atlanta, it wasn't many studios on the west side. And it wasn't a lot of producers on the west side. So, you know, me having a little studio and you can come get a beat, you know, the word was getting around real quick. Like, oh, Will got a studio. Will got a studio. So I'm having everybody come, you know, everybody from the west side, you know, coming to the studio. You know, a lot of dudes that's like known in the street, whatever, known around, you know, different sides, not, you know, not just the west side, but they known on all different sides of town. So, you know, I'm making like little hood local hot records that at the time, like artists like Future, at the time he wasn't a big artist. So I ended up making this record. I don't know if y'all familiar with Johnny Cinco. I know everybody probably familiar with Johnny Cinco. So like I had all these dudes coming to my crib. Like they was all coming to the crib. And I had like this cardboard, like my booth was made of cardboard. The booth was so hot, bro. Like the booth was so hot. Like you come out of the booth sweating bullets. Like you would come out of the booth sweating bullets, but I would have everybody sign like the booth in the closet. So I made this song called Ask Your Hoe About Me, with Johnny Seco and his buddy Yaki. And Future heard the song, but at the time, Future was not the Future we know today. You know what I mean? So Future ended up coming to the crib and was like, bro, I need to get on this song. I need to get on this song. And actually Johnny Cinco brought him to the house. Johnny Cinco brought him to the crib and he laid his verse like in like 5 minutes, laid his verse, boom. He said, bro, I need some of that heat you got. So I ended up, we ended up exchanging numbers and boom, from there, you know, I ended up building a relationship with Future. But along with all of that, you know, we ended up doing a Dirty Sprite mixtape. So I did most of the Dirty Sprite mixtape. But with me doing that, all the other guys like Big Bank Black, Alley Boy, like all these other guys would come to the crib, get CDs. Rocco, they would come to the crib, get CDs. Like everybody was coming to the crib. And it was just like, you know, I don't know, man. It's like a movie, bro. I need to make a movie out of that for real. Cause I had so many people like at the time that wasn't like big artists, but now they like known like all over, you know, and they doing big things now. And they all started like out of my crib, bro. Like
Insane. Yeah. And you said you would have everybody sign off when they went into the booth and everything. I'm sure by the
yeah,
end.
like I had like my booth, like man, like the booth was so hot. It was like, man, it was like, man, my booth was like one of the worst booths like ever, bro. Like you go in there, you be so hot, you be sweating, like
Yeah.
sweating bullets. But I had like cardboard because I didn't really have like money to afford like insulation and stuff like that to get my booth treated, you know. So I ain't really had no money, but I had everybody like sign like the cardboard, the boxes and stuff like that I had in there. Man, I don't even know where they at now. I don't even know where the boxes are now.
you probably had some legendary signatures on there by the
And
end.
I'm telling you, I had so many signatures on there, bro. Like I can't even, man. I can't even start, bro. I don't even want to start because I'm like, damn, where the boxes at? I don't even know where they at.
But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think a lot of us have seen the one of your earlier interviews back in like 2016. Back
Yeah,
then you were kind of talking about working and building with, bigger artists like Gucci Mane or Future, like you were just kind of speaking to. At that point, it probably seemed like you were just climbing, climbing, climbing. But now when you look back, those are obviously some really major placements, and you've had,
right.
a ton of major placements that have kind of come since then. I mean, in your mind, what are you kind of thinking? Does it feel like you'd have made it at this point, or
Man,
still a lot to
I
go?
I still got a long way to go, man. Because like hip hop, like I pretty much like done it, worked with pretty much everybody except for like maybe like the Yays, the J, But I mean, for really, I brought a new sound to the game. I introduced something new to the game, so it's like, it'd be cool to work with, Jay-Z and Kanye, but shoot, when you really introducing, like big, like waves in different eras, like a new era of music. Like when me and Future, like when we first started, we created a whole new era in the beginning. Like now you got all these other rappers sounding like him. So like I look at it like from what we did and what we still doing, like I still got a long way to go because hip hop is just one genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to get in those rooms with like Katy Perry, the Lady Gaga, So and I want to be able to create like a system for up and coming producers, that way they won't have to go through like a lot of the crap that I did, that I went through, coming up in the industry and dealing with, certain artists and, getting thrown, all different types of crap paperwork and, just having to deal with all the extra stuff that's not really needed. So I want to be able to put a system in place, a real system in place for producers that I can provide, for good guys that are dedicated and are very willing to work hard and becoming the next and the top producer. You know what I mean? So, I still got a long way to go.
No, definitely. And I love that you said that, kind of like laying down the blueprint or foundation or some sort of system for younger, early up and coming producers to kind of be able to get in there and thrive.
Yeah, because we don't have like we don't have, I don't know, I could say I feel like we like the producers here in the city, like we all know one another,
Mhm.
and it ain't no like no bad blood between us or no beef or nothing like that, because we all in our own little world getting our money, doing our own little thing. But I just think, we all came together in a way to where, we could provide like a system for like, these up and coming guys, like, man, it'll be something real big, you know what I mean? Because everybody in their own little corner, which ain't nothing wrong with that, But I think if we were to just come together and create something like that, man, it'll be real big and beneficial for everybody.
Definitely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, there's a couple different ways that we've been trying to build it out to sort of make that happen. It's gonna be amazing when you do have that up and running. But looking back on the Will a Fool come up or success story, the fact of the matter is you really did do it off the muscle. And a lot of people think you signed to some magic person or some magic company, and that's how everything starts going. You're an
Nah,
example that you know what I mean? So speak to that a little bit.
man, it's I may not have like all the, like the followers, I got a little followers. I ain't, but man, the thing is, it's like I built my respect and my name up in the streets. So in amongst like the studios and these artists. So like, if you it's like Coca-Cola, like come on, like if you can't get the drink you want, you probably gonna go get Coca-Cola. Like, so I branded myself, you know, and I'm still branding myself to the point where like oh bro, you gotta get a beat from Will. This album ain't gonna be it ain't gonna be right if you don't get a beat from Will. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you know, being good people too, man. Like being a good person, just having a good spirit. You know, always, you know, in the work area, I'm always in a positive, vibe. You know, energy is always positive. You know, I'm very receptive to criticism. You know, when it comes to, you know, if an artist wants me to do this or switch this up, they don't like this. So I'm very, I'm very receptive to it. You know, and I'm open to, you know, different ideas, and you know what I mean? So I'm very easy to work with. And a lot of these artists tell you, like, you know, Will easy to work with. Like I really like working with Will, you know what I mean? So, you know, just having that reputation, you know, that travels, you know what I mean? In the music community, you know, with all the rappers knowing each other and artists knowing each other, they all gonna talk. So all these guys, like, I don't go looking for them. They hit me up. Like they'll get my number from somebody, or they'll just hit me up on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm just thankful to just be able to have like a run this long, and to be able to have like a situation the way I have it. You know what I mean? Because it's very rare, like for all these artists to come to my house in the beginning. Like that's, man, come on, man. Like who would have known they would be like the artists they are, the caliber of, you know, artists, you know, that they are, man. You know, it's just a blessing, like a big blessing, bro. Like,
yeah, it's definitely a big blessing. And I would say this too, like a lot of people will get a certain placement and then they'll decide that that's their new like standard and they're not going to work with smaller artists than that or whatever. You
and you know what?
did it at that
That is
point.
that is ridiculous, bro. Like,
Right.
cause that's how I started. I started from the bottom. So like I gotta always, like my buddy Sky say, right? He tell me like I always have my hand in the cookie jar. Like there's just like a figure of speech that he used. So I always gotta figure out who's the next big thing coming up. I always keep my ear to the street. I'm always searching and looking, you know, for that new talent. And I don't feel like, you know, I had number one albums, number one singles. Like I had those number ones. So it's like, man, the industry don't care about what you've done. They want to know what you're doing now. Like
What's
I
next?
can't sit here and dwell on, you can't sit here and dwell on number one or a single that you had 3 years ago. You know how much music and how new the music sounds in 6 months. Like, come on, bro. Like, especially nowadays, like with the streaming and everything, man, it's the music, it's a fast turnaround. And then you have all types of new artists coming out every day. So you gotta stay on top of this shit. Like you gotta stay focused and stay in the game. Because if you take a break for 1 minute, as soon as you turn around, you done missed out on a whole lot of shit.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And I think, yeah, that just goes to also just like, you know, people's attention spans. I'm not saying in general, I don't know, some would, but at least in music, it seems to be, you know, not as their attention
Right.
spans are smaller than they once were. How short songs are is a direct correlation to that. So with that being said, I couldn't agree more with your point of just, you know, you could be here today and gone tomorrow really, really quickly. And we've all seen it happen before.
Yeah. For sure.
Definitely. As far as, you know, you're definitely a producer. There's a lot of beat makers, there's a lot of producers. What is your kind of opinion on how producers are treated within the industry as a whole? Do they get the credit they deserve? What are kind of your thoughts on that?
Man, I say, like, I look at it like this. Like nobody is obligated to teach you the game. You gotta learn it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta read, you gotta research, you gotta do, you know. And I see a lot of producers, they fall victim to like signing bad deals, you know, they getting messed up like deals, paperwork, you know, and a lot of times, you know, these artists and these managers and A&Rs, all these people, you know, some of them, they'll play on your your emotions, you know what I mean? So like business and personal, it kind of rubs together, you know what I mean? But with the producers, I say this, like, man, you need to learn the game, because you're gonna either learn the hard way, or you're gonna, you know what I mean, you're gonna protect your intellectual property, you know, by researching, knowing what, you know, what's rightfully yours, you know, publishing wise, all of that, you know, knowing what you're getting as a producer for this album, knowing what the standard rate is, you know, mechanical rate for this, you know what I mean? Then the caliber of producer, you know, having a resume, knowing that you can get more on this, that, you know what I mean? So producers, they get treated based off, you know, what they know. And these people out here, they're gonna try you, and they're gonna see if you really know what you need to know. And if you don't know that, you know, people are gonna take advantage of that from a business standpoint. And personally, you're gonna take it in a way as like, well, then he tricked me. You know what I mean? But it's, you gotta know the business, like, you know. But as far as like, and that's how you're gonna get treated. Like if you don't know something, they're gonna take advantage of it. I say producers are, they're gonna get treated how they get treated based off what they know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you come in there knowing your shit, like they gonna respect that. They gonna be like, oh, okay, he know what he's talking about. He know the game. Like, but a lot of producers get treated bad based off of based off them not knowing what they supposed to know.
Definitely. A lot of gems in there, a lot of gems in there. Obviously earlier we spent some time kind of talking about this like up and coming producer system that we're gonna build out, make sure, try to make things easier for the next person coming up. Just in that same vein, is there any kind of like common pitfalls you see with young producers, or even just things, you know, as a young producer, you wish you knew back then what you know now, you know what I mean?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, like when I first like really got into like the business aspect, you know, I got mentors. So I ended up learning like a lot of stuff like 17, 18 years old. So
right.
I'm blessed to even just, like I said, I'm blessed to just even be able to know it, like even know just the fundamentals. Like as I went, you know, started making placements and other things, I started to like learn, you know, like, you know, when you're dealing with a big company like Sony, how you have to set up your, you know what I mean, your account to get, you know what I mean? So, you know, as I progressed and started making, you know, all types of big moves, I started learning new things, because you got to go through it.
Yeah.
So exactly. I started learning, you know, all types of new things. But now, man, I mean, I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah. I'm all right. I'm at the point now where I wanna make some bigger steps now. You know, I've created a whole big foundation for myself. It's moving, big moving machine. Like now it's time to experiment, venture, and do some different things.
Yeah, do some different things.
And on a bigger scale, like Willow Food is gonna be huge, like bigger.
You spoke to something really interesting there, which is a question I get asked daily, damn near. So you have a placement come out with a big artist who's on Sony. You need to connect with them to set up your account so you can start receiving money from your points or master side royalties. Kind of break down a little bit how that process goes, because you were at one point not knowing any of that, like majority of people are now. So how did you how did you go about you know, setting that up so you can be on autopilot as that money's coming in and generated?
Basically, the process is, okay, when you place a record, the artist say, boom, I want this on my album. Well, let's just say like this, the Pluto album. That was like my first like actual like situation where I had to deal with a label, and they called me, and you know, basically what they're gonna ask is they're gonna ask you for your legal name. You know, they're gonna get all the basic stuff. They're gonna ask if you have any samples or anything, you know, all the basic stuff. But getting into like to get set up, this is how you pretty much get set up to get paid. So it's what else? they're gonna send your producer declaration over. But before they do that, they want to make sure all the ends are clear. Like I said, samples, co-producers, all this other stuff. They're gonna ask you what you want for the masters up front, the upfront payment towards your future royalties. So you're gonna go back and forth with them about that, and then they're gonna basically send over some forms to you, letters of direction and all that other stuff, which is very important. So you guys looking at this, you know what I mean, go on YouTube, get your Google on, and you know what I mean.
Google on.
And they're gonna ask you for, like, they're gonna give you W-9s, all that type of stuff. So before you even, it's not too late. It won't be too late, if you don't have your company set up like publishing, like a publishing company. If you don't have it set up at that moment, it's not too late, because they will, be able to collect money for you, So it won't be too late, but it would be best to have your publishing company set up and all of that before you go into that, into that process of getting, receiving your royalties from the album, your producer points, and all of that. So get your publishing company set up, through your PRO, and you know what I mean? Sure, you'll be going through the process. It's pretty much a step-by-step process. It's pretty much like signing up for a Google account, Twitter account. You go through the steps and you complete the steps, and you set up and you're good to go.
Definitely. Yeah, a ton of really good information there. Let's switch gears back to the fun stuff, the music, the placements, etc. Obviously the Rod stuff is going crazy, and you got, one of the bigger songs on the deluxe that features Durk. You've obviously been working with Durk for a really, really long time. How did those first Will a Fool Durk songs come to be, and how did that relationship kind of start?
Man, when he moved to when he moved here, and I'm not too sure, man. I'm not sure. I think he hit me up. I know it was that. He hit me up, and I ended up meeting him at Mean Street Studios. You familiar with Mean Street here in Atlanta? Yeah, so I ended up meeting him down there, and I think DJ Bands, he came and got me from the door.
Shout out DJ Bands, man.
And the crazy part, right? He like, man, look, you ain't got no beef out here, do you? I'm looking at Bands like, nah. I'm like, nah, I'm good. He's like, yeah, nah, man, I'm just making sure. So we walk in, I'm walking in, I piece Durk up. We just I officially met him for the first time. And I think what was the, I don't even remember what project we was working on. Mm-hmm. But we did a whole bunch of songs and all that, but that's how the relationship pretty much, started.
Yeah, definitely amazing. Yeah, shout out DJ Bands, man. He's a lot of people know DJ Bands, but if you don't, he's definitely a background key player in the whole Lil Durk OTF movement.
He 100. He definitely 100.
Yeah, DJ Bands is the GOAT, man. Staying in that same team. You also got to work, a bit with Vaughn before he passed away. What was kind of working with Vaughn like? Obviously, you were a part of some of those projects that came out beforehand, but what was working with him like?
Man, pretty much the same as working with Durk. It's pretty much the same. When he came around, when he first came, I had some of my buddies. I guess, I don't know, they was, I guess, showing him around the city or whatever. But he pretty quiet. Around me, he was pretty quiet. So I don't really have too much to speak on, because he pretty quiet around me. Because every time we would be in the studio, he was always in work mode. So it wasn't really too much talking. It was just work.
Yeah, just locked in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was really cool to kind of hear about your experiences with that camp. Obviously, one of the biggest songs, Cutter Off K Camp. I think that's got to be one of the most remixed songs ever too. Everybody has heard that song, Cutter Off K Camp, Cutter Off K Camp. If you don't think you've heard that song, look it up. You've heard that song. What was that like, man? Just knowing, did you know right away that it was one of those ones, or did it kind of catch you by surprise?
Honestly, I didn't think he was gonna make it like that. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, man, my people's tell me like, you got a bad, like, you can't pick a hit record. I literally didn't hear that like being big like that. You know.
Yeah.
Like, even when I did Tony Montana, I didn't think it was gonna be big like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But shoot, that process, like that whole situation, I sent him the beat through the email. Like, it wasn't even no studio session. Like, I sent the beat to him. He knocked it out like that, sent it back. So by the time I got the record, maybe what, a couple weeks later, shoot, it was
Gone.
it was
I think that's a cool point too, because a lot of producers will always say like, I need to be in the room with the artists. I need to be in the room. And I know, don't get me wrong, being in the room is better than not. But the fact of the matter is, you're living proof that hits can be made both ways, you know, sending it to the
sure.
doing it like that.
For sure. Like, I was texting Rod Wave the beats that's on the album. Like, I text him those.
Definitely.
He's sending the song back, like, boom, send the song right back.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of coming back full circle, speaking of Rod and the deluxe, so I'm sure you were probably supposed to be on the original too. I'd imagine some of those songs might have only been in the original, or did you guys link after?
We actually linked after that, like right after he dropped.
Right after he dropped, and then, you know, those songs kind of came to it from there. Rod is obviously one of many, but one of the biggest deluxes to drop this year, the past couple of years, whatever. What is kind of like your thoughts on deluxe albums? Because, you know, everybody and their mom got a deluxe now for something they're dropping. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, shoot, I guess back in the day they would do like this too. So I mean, it's kind of like the same thing, but I guess with less songs. I guess. I mean, it's actually good because it's boosting up the sales, so it is a good thing. You know what I mean?
Definitely. But yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time and everything, most definitely. What about non-music wise? What's going on in the world of Willa Fool? What's going on non-music wise? Anything you're excited about?
Man, my life is very interesting, man. You know, just being a dad, you know. So other than that, you know, just being a family man. That's it.
Making it happen. Well, let everybody know, you know, what do you got going on? Willa Fool, what's coming next? Anything you want the people to know?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm working on Durk's new album right now. I've been locked in with Pluto, you know, as day one. I talked to Lil Bibby, not too long ago. Supposed to be working on some stuff with Lil TJ.
Oh yeah.
It's about 3 or 4 more other things that I'm working on. I'm thinking. Oh, I talked to Peasy from Detroit.
Yep, shout out PZ, shout out that Detroit scene. We love that Detroit scene.
Yeah, I have yet to come up there. He wants me to come. I've been meaning to come up there. I have not made no move yet, and I need to go.
Willa Fool,
Roddy Rich. That's another one that I'm working on right now.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you on that Roddy project.
Yeah, so
just might, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm in the mix. I'm in the mix, man.
One thing about Willa Fool, he's in the mix, but
right, I'm in the mix.
Yeah, the producer room, powered by producer culture. Again, we appreciate it big time. You know, a lot of good knowledge dropped on this one. We appreciate it again.
And I appreciate you guys, man.